Welcome to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Under overcast skies, temperatures in the mid-60s. The NLDS Best of 5 with the rally towels flying here and a sea of red. TBS brings you the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. A lot of excitement here in the city of brotherly love. I'm Dick Stockton along with Bob Brenly. We'll hear from Craig Sager as well. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, they had a wire-to-wire season. Never left first place all year. They won 102 games, setting a franchise record. And the driving force had to be a starting pitching staff that is arguably the best we have seen in decades, Bob.
Well, certainly the deepest we've seen in postseason baseball in decades, led by the reigning Cy Young winner Roy Halladay, tonight's starter. This is a staff that led in every important category on the mound. ERA, complete games, shutouts. They allowed the fewest runs, the fewest homers, the fewest walks, and they can strike out big time.
Meanwhile, Bob, they're opposing the St. Louis Cardinals, who late in August were 10.5 games out of a playoff berth, but they caught the Atlanta Braves. And the question has to be, how did they do it?
They did it the other way, Dick. They did it with offense. They led the National League in batting average, runs scored, hits, fewest strikeouts, most walks. They led in on-base percentage, near the top in slugging percentage. They're a very deep lineup, top to bottom. They can beat you in a lot of different ways.
So there's no question that the Cardinals are heavy underdogs against the powerful Phillies coming into the series. What would be their recipe for challenging the Phillies and beating them, perhaps?
Ideally, getting those great starting pitchers for the Phillies out of the game early, work a lot of deep counts, a lot of high-pitch innings for the Phillies pitching staff. I think that's the Cardinals' best chance to break through.
All right, so we're set to go, and for the Cardinals, their biggest winner, Kyle Loesch, gets the start in game number 1. Ready to go in Philadelphia. We'll be back with the starting lineups for tonight's game in just a moment. The Phillies get set to battle the Cardinals in game 1 of the best of 5. First 2 games here, and then after a travel day, game number 3 as the Phillies get set to take the field. And here are today's batting order, brought to you by Autotrader.com. For the Cardinals, Rafael Furcal leading off at shortstop. Alan Craig will be in right field. Their big hitter, Albert Pujols, hitting third at first base. Lance Berkman batting cleanup in left. David Freese will be at third base. Yadier Molina behind the plate. Skip Schumacher is the second baseman, hitting seventh. John Jay in center field, batting eighth. And the pitcher, Kyle Loesch, batting ninth for the Cardinals, who won 90 and lost 72, and facing one of the best, if not the best in the game, Roy Halladay.
Roy Halladay has an amazing arsenal of pitches at his disposal. Throws a couple of different fastballs, a two-seam sinking fastball, a cut fastball. Has a really good straight changeup that he likes to throw in hitters' counts. Also has a big over-the-top curveball that he'll use when he's ahead in the count to try to get the Cardinals hitters to chase bad pitches. So
Roy Halladay, 19-6. And last year, when he started the division series, he pitched a no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds. So he's back in the division series ready to go. And right now, let's take a look at the Phillies defensively. And they back up their pitchers well, Bob. Number one in the National League fielding. Yeah, they only made 74 errors as a team all season long. You can see the Gold Glovers in the outfield as well as the infield. Their range maybe not quite what it once was, but they catch everything they get to. And as we'll see, that'll be an edge that the Phillies fielders have versus the Cardinals. As Halladay gets set to go, his ERA of 2.35 was second to Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. He had 8 complete games to lead the National League and 1 shutout. So Halladay going against the Cardinals, and Tony La Russa has to find a way, Bob, for his team to get runs against this starting staff. Well, Tony told us before the ball game that he's not afraid to push it if necessary, and by that he means starting runners, playing a little hit and run, maybe bunting runners into scoring position if necessary. This is not a Whitey Herzog Cardinals team. They do not steal bases. They need to use the hit and run the bases intelligently. Charlie Manuel just winning his 5th straight National League East title. 10 years as a manager in the big league, 7th with the Phillies. And we're set to go as Furcal, a switch hitter, getting set in the batter's box. And we're underway. Furcal, who's been bothered by a hamstring pull, has been out since last Monday, takes the strike, and this game is underway. Furcal batting .231, 8 homers, and 28 runs batted in. Came over from the Dodgers at the end of July and slaps a base hit into right field, and the Cardinals have a base runner. You mentioned Furcal with the gimpy hamstring, maybe not as likely to run as he normally would. This is a guy that normally likes to try to steal bases. He likes to be aggressive, go first to third on base hits, but that hamstring may prohibit that in the ball game tonight. And in Tony La Russa's scheme of things, the number 2 hitter always important to him, and it's Alan Craig, the right fielder, who hit .315 with 11 homers and 40 runs batted in and 200 at-bats. And he is out there because Matt Halladay, who was on the roster, not starting but available as a pinch hitter. Tony La Russa really likes Alan Craig, calls him a professional hitter, uses the whole field. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Here goes the runner, pitch swung on and missed, and the throw to second base, not in time. And there is Furcal, gimpy hamstring and all, getting into second base with a stolen base and the runner in scoring position. Once again, Tony La Russa said he was going to try to push it. I think this is a perfect illustration of what the Cardinals feel they need to do against this outstanding Phillies pitching staff. Even with a gimpy hamstring, they get Furcal on the move. Carlos Ruiz has to rush his throw to second base, and the Cardinals have a man in scoring position. 1 ball and 1 strike to Craig, and you saw waiting on deck the dangerous Albert Pujols on deck. Fouled out of play, and out 1-2 to Craig. Clear effort that time by Alan Craig to try to hit the ball to the right side of the field. Lead at second by Furcal. Started the game with a base hit and stole second. And a good play by Ruiz, the catcher, preventing it from getting away. And the count 2-2.
I'll tell you, Dick, we're going to be treated, in my estimation, to two of the better catchers in all of baseball in this series. Carlos Ruiz getting down and dirty here early in the ball game, keeping Furcal at second base with a great block of a curveball in the dirt.
What better than to have a former catcher seeing two outstanding catchers perform in this division series? And the next pitch fouled away.
You know, some of the advanced metrics on Carlos Ruiz maybe would tell you that he's not one of the better catchers, but you talk to his pitching coach, you talk to his pitchers, you talk to his managers, and they rave about the job that Carlos Ruiz does with his Phillies pitching staff.
And of course, his opposite number in the dugout, Yadier Molina. 2 balls and 2 strikes, nobody out here in the top of the first. And Craig strikes out, foul tips it into Ruiz's glove, and Halladay gets the first out of the first. Albert Pujols coming to the plate. And for Pujols, he missed his 11th straight year of hitting 300 with 30 homers and 100 runs batted in. He had 99 RBIs and hit 299, so he missed by an eyelash.
That was mostly due to a poor first month of the season. He hit only 245 in the month of April. Everybody was wondering if Albert was done. Well, I got news for you. He's not done.
And a complete player, and has become more and more a vocal leader on this club in the clubhouse. Trying to put the Cardinals up here in the first inning with Furcal off second.
And one of the great strengths of Roy Halladay is his ability to command that outside corner of the plate. If he's on top of his game, if he feels like he's hitting his spots well, he will just pound away at the knees on that outside corner with all of his pitches.
2-0 to Pujols. And now Halladay falls behind 3-0 with Lance Berkman on deck for the Cardinals. There's Berkman, who's had a big run production year, and it's a good thing with all of the injuries that Matt Halladay has suffered during the course of the season. Taking ball 4, a 4-pitch walk by Roy Halladay. And now runners at first and second, 1 out. And let's check in now for the first time, Craig Saban.
Well, the Cardinals led the league in runs scored this year, but they are without the regular cleanup hitter, Matt Halladay, as Dick mentioned. He has an inflamed tendon in his right hand. He had a cortisone shot back on September 15th, but he said it alleviated the pain, but he lost his feel at the plate. He says he's an aggressive hands hitter, stays back on the pitch. That allows him to adjust his pitch direction. He said, I'll be available for pinch hitting duties.
All right. Craig, and Tony La Russa said we have a very dangerous bat available for the pinch hitter. Berkman, it's a fly ball to right field, way back and gone. Lance Berkman on the first pitch hits a 3-run homer, and the Cardinals stun this crowd and take the lead. Berkman homered off of Roy Halladay on September 19th, the only homer allowed by Halladay in his last 11 starts. So the Cardinals take a 3-0 lead.
First pitch fastball inside part of the plate and elevated a little bit for Lance Berkman. He did not waste any time. You may have thought after the walk to Albert Pujols that Berkman might look at a pitch or two, but I think Berkman realized that Halladay was pitching around Albert Pujols and decided to jump on that first offering close to the zone.
So the Cardinals quiet this crowd in dramatic fashion. And David Freese, the third baseman, with the count 1 ball and no strikes, and now 2-0 to Freese. So Halladay having trouble with his location. He walked Pujols on 4 straight pitches before Berkman hit the first offering for a 3-run home. That's in for the strike, and it's 2-1. David Freese can swing the bat and chases that breaking ball away, and it's 2-2.
So far, everything to the right-handed hitters in this Cardinals lineup has been away, away, away. And part of the reason they're such a good offensive ball club is they make adjustments.
And the breaking pitch in there for call strike 3, and Freese is down. That's 2 out, both by strikeouts.
no doubter off the bat of Lance Berkman. This is a ballpark that will surrender some long home runs. That one off the facing of the second deck.
And you know, Bob, that was only the second multi-run home run off of Halladay. He allowed only one home run with runners on base. So this is a rarity in the neon signs for Halladay here as he falls behind Yadier Molina 1-0. Molina was the Cardinals' leading hitter at .305 this year. Broken back grounder to Polanco at third, and that'll do it. But the Cardinals explode for 3 runs on Lance Berkman's 3-run homer. Cardinals 3, Phillies coming to bat in the first. First inning, and today's batting order brought to you by Autotrader.com. Jimmy Rollins leading off. Chase Utley hitting in the second spot. Hunter Pence batting third. Ryan Howard, the cleanup batter. Shane Victorino batting 5. Raul Ibanez hitting in the 6th spot. Placido Polanco hitting 2nd. Carlos Ruiz hitting 8th, and Roy Halladay batting 9th against Kyle Osh. 14-8, the biggest winner and the best ERA on the Cardinals starters this year.
And he was a real road warrior. 8-3 on the road with an ERA of just over 3. Has a fastball, changeup, slider, curveball. Fastball is usually a sinker down low, like that one right there. Kyle Osh said the other day in his interview with the media, I need to keep the ball on the ground, especially in this ballpark.
He has been a hot pitcher down the stretch, and there's a broken bat. Grounder to Pujols, who makes the play unassisted, and Rollins is retired. Cardinals defense, unlike what we've seen with Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're a little shaky at a couple of different positions. Lance Berkman making the transition from first base to the outfield. Rafael Furcal had some fielding hiccups at the very end of the regular season. One place you do not have to worry about the defense is at first and behind the plate with Yadier Molina.
Chase Utley hit .259 on the year, takes a strike. So Chase Utley, who struggled toward the end of the career, but somehow, some way, usually emerges at a time like this. And a comebacker off the glove of Loesch recovers, and Utley is retired. for the second out, bringing up Hunter Pence.
Kyle Loesch, being a sinker ball pitcher, is very accustomed to having balls hit back at him out there on the mound. He fields his position extremely well. This time a little one hopper. He's able to knock it down. He knows he has time to recover and get Utley at first base.
So 2 quick outs for Kyle Loesch, and Hunter Pence, who was perhaps the last piece in the puzzle, the big acquisition at the trading deadline, acquired from the Astros for 4 prospects, and 4th in the National League in hitting at .314, 22 homers, 97 runs batted in. Just what the doctor ordered from the Phils.
Oh, and a high energy guy on top of it. This Phillies team at times was criticized for being a little too cool, a little too professional. Hunter Pence is anything but that. He's high octane.
And Schumacher handles the one hopper. 6 pitches for Loesch in the first inning. 3-0, the Cardinals lead. Coverage on TBS is brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Cardinals batting in the top of the second and the bottom third of their order. Skip Schumacher fouls off the first pitch, a fastball for a strike. Schumacher began the year as a second baseman and finished at that position as Tony La Russa used 7 different players at second this year. And slapped into right field, and another base hit for Call started the first with a single to right field, and Schumacher follows suit to start the second.
I said that the Cardinals might be better served by working a lot of deep counts and taking some pitches. Not always an easy thing to do against a pitcher that throws as many strikes as Roy Halladay does. However, he left a changeup up over the inside part of the plate that time to Schumacher, and he promptly ripped it into right field for a leadoff hit.
So already 3 hits off of Roy Halladay, and diving back to first is Schumacher. And here is John Jay, the center fielder, who moved into the center field spot after Colby Rasmus was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays. And there's a bounding ball, gloved nicely by Howard, flips to Halladay, And a pretty play all the way around to get Jay as Schumacher moves to second.
Ryan Howard shuffling off the bag after holding on Schumacher. Looked like he had an idea about possibly going to second for the lead man, but then thought better of it. Take the sure out. Nice play by the big man over there. More known for swinging the bat, but nice leather on that play.
And he's gotten a bit better fielding his position. So there's one out. Schumacher at second, and here's the pitcher Kyle Loesch batting 175 on the year. Does have 2 doubles, 11 for 63. Breaking ball and a strike.
6 sacrifice bunts on the season for Kyle Loesch. No sign of a bunt that time with a runner at second base.
Top of the order, Rafael for call. On deck for St. Louis. And the count now 0-2 to the Cardinal pitcher. And time called as Halladay steps off the rubber. 34-year-old Roy Halladay from the Denver area. And strike 3, and Loesch will go down for the second out and the third strikeout of the game for Halladay.
Just vicious movement on that straight changeup from Roy Halladay. Watch the bottom fall out of that pitch as it gets into the hitting zone. And once again, Carlos Ruiz with a nice block. Anticipating that off-speed pitch in the dirt. Holding Schumacher at second base now with 2 outs in the inning.
So here is Farkall, who last inning began with a single to right field, stole second, and came around along with Albert Pujols on Lance Berkman's 3-run homer. And that's been the story early on. First pitch, a strike to Farkall. This one is fouled off, and so after falling behind many of the hitters in the first inning, Halladay is ahead of the last couple, and now 0-2 to Farkall. Chopped to second base, and Utley plenty of time to make the play, and the side is retired. Cardinals get a hit, strand a runner in scoring position in the middle of the second. Cardinals 3 and the Phillies nothing. Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, as Ryan Howard will start it off for the Phillies in the second inning against Kyle Loesch, who retired the Phils in order, throwing just 6 pitches in the first inning. So here's Howard, who hit .253, tied for 6th in the league with 33 home runs and 3rd with 116 runs batted in. He has battled some foot problems and is playing in his 10th postseason. Line drive, left field, and Berkman playing perfectly in left center field makes the catch. 1 pitch, Howard's retired.
In a strange kind of way, Dick, Charlie Manuel likes seeing that from his big cleanup hitter in the middle of the lineup. When Ryan Howard's hitting the ball to all fields, that's when he's at his best. Even though the result there was a line drive right at the left fielder for an out, you love the approach from the big guy.
And he hit it hard as Shane Victorino, the switch hitter, stepping in. Victorino hit .279 this year, takes a strike. David Freese is playing well in at third base, looking out for the possible bunt. One ball and 1 strike to Victorino. Has a knack of getting on base. 6th season with the Phillies, gets jammed and pops it up to the right side. Pujols on the grass makes the catch, and there are 2 down.
Well, it's early, Dick, but so far Kyle Loesch is the starting pitcher that seems to be on top of his game, hitting his spots. He has good movement, moving the ball in, out, up, down. A lot of baseball left to play, however.
Cardinals are very happy that Dave Duncan is back with them. He had been away for over a month, tending to his wife's illness, and the Cardinals pleased to get one of the better pitching coaches in the history of the game back with them, as Raul Ibanez takes strike 1. Ibanez hit .245 with 20 homers, 84 runs batted in. Freeze at third base, and it is scooped up nicely by Pujols, and a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Loesch. He's retired the first 6. Second here for the Cardinals in the third inning. Cardinals leading 3-0. Lance Berkman with a 3-run homer off of Roy Halladay, who gave up just 10 home runs in the regular year, facing Alan Craig for the second time in the game. And Craig takes a stride. Craig struck out his first time up. Grounded to Jimmy Rollins at shortstop. And there's one away for the Cardinals in the third. And this week, our Goodyear Superior performer is Roy Halladay of the Philadelphia Phillies. And you can see there are only 5 pitchers who have won the Cy Young Award in both leagues. And, of course, Halladay did it with the Toronto Blue Jays after 12 years with the Blue Jays, coming over to the Phillies last year. Here is Pujols, who walked, came around and scored on Berkman's homer. Strike one to Pujols. One and one. Strong finish for Albert Pujols, who got off to a slow start this year at the plate. And in fact, not only did some of the pitchers have injury problems, some of the big hitters, we talked about Halladay, but Pujols as well had his problems. Two-one fastball, line foul into the stands down the left field line. Another foul ball whistled past the third base coach, Jose Oquendo. Now remains 2-2. Roy Halladay 2-1 and a 2.10 ERA against the Cardinals in his career, and this one will be a fair ball behind the bag. Polanco with the throw, and Pujols is retired. 2 ground balls, 2 outs for the Cardinals here in the third.
Ball made an odd sound coming off of Albert's bat right there. Got out in front of a straight changeup. Looked like he thought it was foul initially. Didn't run hard out of the box. Ends up just jogging down that first baseline. But a very odd noise. Sounded like he split his bat out near the barrel.
You know, Bob, we've had several of those situations. One we know was a broken bat, where it sounded like a broken bat, might not have been. So here's Lance Berkman. And that one sounds like a broken bat as the pop-up is handled by Polanco in foul territory. And a 1-2-3 inning for Roy Halladay in the middle of the third. The Cardinals are up 3-0. Cast 62 degrees, and this game scheduled for 5 o'clock Eastern time. And if the sun had been shining, Bob would have played havoc with the shadows and the strong sun in right field.
Yeah, would have had some real issues with the sunshine. Players are probably very glad that we have the overcast that we do.
Placido Polanco takes a strike. Bottom third of the order facing Kyle Loesch here in the third. Polanco hit .277, 5 homers and 50 runs batted in. And that was his lowest batting average since he broke in with the Cardinals in '98, and in '99 hit .277 as well. 1-2 now to Polanco, who will be followed by Carlos Ruiz, and then the pitcher Roy Halladay. Foul out of play. Loesch retired the Phillies in order in each of the first 2 innings, and just surrendered 6 pitches in each of the first 2. Gets jammed at a pop-up. Pujols in foul territory, gives it a run and makes a basket couch to retired Polanco, out number 1 in the third.
Albert Pujols making like a wide receiver, going after a pass in the end zone right there, looking back over his right shoulder, looks the ball all the way into that first baseman's mitt for the first out of the inning.
So there's one away to Carlos Ruiz, Phillies catcher, who hit .283, slammed 6 homers and knocked in 40 runs. A very quiet capacity crowd here at Citizens Bank Park, and strike 1 to Ruiz. The Phillies sailing along and winning the division, and then had a bump in the road with an 8-game losing streak near the end of the year. John Jay is back, has room, and makes the catch for the second out. So there are 2 out, and Loesch sailing along Craig Sager, but we know he has a sense of humor, to say the least.
Well, St. Louis manager Tony La Russa took a leave of absence in May to battle a case of the shingles. He was being treated at the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale, watching the Cardinals on TV when he saw himself deliver the lineup. It was actually Kyle Loesch doing an impersonation wearing his jersey, a practical joke telling the skipper how much he missed him.
And Tony said he got a kick out of it when he saw it. He wasn't sure who it was wearing his uniform up there for the umpires meeting before the ball game, but Kyle Loesch had all the mannerisms down, even the way he jogs, the way he handles himself. Kind of a funny moment for a guy, Tony La Russa, that's not known for his humor.
No, he's been kind of an intense manager throughout his career, but it has paid off for him with a world championship in each of the 2 leagues, one with the Oakland A's and, of course, one with the Cardinals. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Roy Halladay, and Halladay serves one to right field, but Alan Craig, who was playing close to the line, came over to make the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning. 10 pitches for Loesch here in the third. Very economical thus far. For its one-of-a-kind coverage of the National League Divisional Series on TBS. For a one-of-a-kind approach to retirement, ask your financial professional about retirement products from MetLife. Roy Halladay facing David Freese here in the top of the fourth inning with the Cardinals leading 3-0 and a called strike. Freese took a called third strike his first time up. Fractured hand in batting practice, missed 51 games. Suffered early in May, and Halladay jumps in front of him, 2 strikes.
You know, Dick, we're seeing something from Carlos Ruiz that you normally don't see during the regular season. He's giving a sequence of signs even with no runner on at second base. Maybe being overly cautious, maybe being a little paranoid, but this is no time to question whether anybody's getting your signs anywhere in the ballpark. Nobody on base, still goes through a sequence of signs.
Chopper to Chase Utley, who throws out Freese, and there's one gone in the fourth. Let's take a look at the umpires for game 1. Chris Luccioni calling balls and strikes. Jerry Meals at first. The crew chief, Jerry Lane, is at second. Angel Hernandez third. Gary Cederstrom mans the left field line, and Chad Fairchild is the umpire down the right field line. One out to Yadier Molina, who is 8th in the league, hitting .305 this year. Bounced to third his first time up. And he looks at a strike.
And this is where you want Yadier Molina if you're the Philadelphia Phillies. Nobody on base. He had .277 during the regular season with nobody on base. With runners on, he was a .340 hitter. For me, one of the better situational hitters in the game. If you give him a hole on the right side of the infield, he'll try to shoot the ball to the opposite field, especially if you have runners in motion. He's very aware of where the holes are defensively. With nobody on, he's just looking to hit something hard somewhere.
But he certainly has become a far more effective offensive force.
Oh, no question about it, Dick. He was always a defensive force behind the plate and with his throwing arm, to the point where Tony La Russa, his first full season in '05, said, as he goes down on strikes, I don't care if he gets a hit all season, he's still going to be my starting catcher. That's how good he is defensively, but he's turned himself into a real good offensive player.
And a world of confidence for Yadier Molina, getting that testimony from Tony La Russa. Want to remind you, coming up later on TBS, the continuation of game 1 between the Tigers and the Yankees. They'll resume in the bottom of the second. Score is tied 1-1. Here is Skip Schumacher, singled his first time up and takes a strike. So Roy Halladay settling down after giving up the 3-run homer in the first inning to Lance Berkman, and is ahead of the count 0-2 to Schumacher. Threw 20 pitches in that first inning, 9 in each of the next 2. Has retired the first 2 hitters here and ahead on the count. Schumacher pops it up. Polanco at third, and a quick 1-2-3 inning. 10 pitches that time for Halladay. We go to the bottom of the fourth. sharp, at least to this point.
Well, he's definitely
to nothing, and Kyle Loesch has retired the first 9 hitters he's faced. And it'll be the top of the Phillies batting order, Jimmy Rollins, who bounced out to Albert Pujols unassisted in the first inning. And David Freese once again, as he did with Victorino, playing in at third for the possible bunt, and the first pitch is strike to Rollins.
Good changeup that time for Kyle Loesch. Second time through this Phillies order, he'll start to incorporate more of his secondary pitches. Got by pretty much on that heavy sinking fastball alone the first time through.
1-2 to Rollins, coming back this year after missing just about half of last season with a calf injury. At age 32, though, hit 2 homers in the final series at Atlanta and pops this one out of play, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Still led the club in steals with 30. And always dangerous in the power department as a leadoff hitter. And an off-speed pitch, strikeout, as Rollins goes down for out number 1. Moments ago, we spoke with Cardinals manager Tony La Russa. It's time to talk, brought to you by Charles Schwab. And Tony, the big 3 runs, but Loesch looked sharp at least to this point.
well, he's definitely has good command. He's going after hitters. The second time around here, they're going to make an adjustment, so we have to be ready to adjust to him.
Tony, I know it's very early in the ball game, but if you maintain this lead later in the game, are you likely to make any defensive changes in your lineup?
Well, for sure at third base, we have a really outstanding defensive young man, Dan Descalzo. He'd be the one for sure. Maybe a move in the outfield.
Tony, thanks for joining us.
I hope we do maintain that lead.
Nothing like a little support from Tony, and there's a shot hit deep to right field off the bat of Utley, and it's off the wall. Utley heading into second, and will stop there as the ball comes in from the outfield, and the Phillies have their first base runner and first hit, a double by Chase Utley.
As you mentioned earlier, Dick, an off season by Chase Utley standards, but still a very dangerous clutch hitter. Really quick with his hands on that pitch, down and out over the plate, pulls it back to right field. Alan Craig got a little too close to the scoreboard there. Either get back there and make a catch or back off the scoreboard and play the carom. That time he kind of got caught in between. Fortunately for the Cardinals, John Jay hustled over to back up the play from center field.
And here is Hunter Pence, who takes a strike. Pence bounced out to Schumacher his first time up, so the Phillies fans sensing a possible rally here in the 4th inning with the Cardinals up 3-0 and Ryan Howard on deck. Pitch is inside, and the count 1-1 to Hunter Pence. Made his second All-Star team this year and led the Phillies with a .324 average. Out of play, and it's 1-2.
You see the numbers for Hunter Pence with the Houston Astros, and in the 54 games since coming over to the Philadelphia Phillies, improved numbers across the board. One thing you may have heard, our field mic may have picked it up, Hunter Pence grunting as he swings that bat. His teammates give him a hard time because he does it even when he does tee drills.
And chases a pitch out of the strike zone and strikes out. That'll be the second strikeout for Loesch. It sounds like a U.S. Open tennis tournament with that grunting, Bob.
Well, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. Hunter Pence is a maximum effort, high energy guy. It's the only way he knows how to play this game. And as I said before, the Phillies were such a professional, such a cool group of players that injection of energy into the middle of that lineup has really invigorated the entire ball club.
Now they're looking to solve Kyle Loesch, who was the key figure in the Cardinals' late run. Loesch 3-0 and a 1.72 ERA in his last 5 starts, including wins over the Brewers and the Phillies and Roy Halladay. And Ryan Howard with 2 out. Line to left center field his first time up. There's Chris Carpenter, who will be the Game 2 starter for the Cardinals tomorrow. And the first pitch missing, ball 1. That's the way they play Ryan Howard. Utley at second with 2 down, and missing inside. Loesch falls behind 2-0. "32-year-old from Hamilton City, California, Kyle Loesch. Comes in with a 2-0 to Howard and misses outside. 3 balls, no strikes. Utley is at second, and Shane Victorino on deck for the Phillies. And a 4-pitch walk. And the first walk of the game issued by Loesch, who gave up that double with 1 out here in the 4th. Runners at first and second. Very popular Shane Victorino stepping in. And he represents the tying run at the plate in a 3-0 Cardinal lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And a foul off for a strike. Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Game 1 best of 5 between the Phillies, who had the best record in the big leagues, against the Cardinals, who were the wild card winners on the last day of the year. Dick Stockton, Bob Brenly, and Craig Sager. 3-run homer by Lance Berkman in the first inning. That's been the story, but the Phillies threatening with 2 out and 2 on, and the foul out of play. And it's now 0-2 to Victorino.
Well, that 4-pitch walk to Ryan Howard, Dick, I think that what pitchers like to refer to as inning management. We showed you the numbers for Ryan Howard against Kyle Loesch, and Kyle Loesch is well aware of those numbers. He had a base open. He decided he was not going to give him anything good to hit. If he walks, he walks. Now he's got a batter at the plate that he's had success against in the past. Victorino, a .208 lifetime hitter against Kyle Loesch.
Up high, and it's 1-2 now. Kyle Loesch, who last pitched in postseason for the Phillies, believe it or not, in 2007 against the Rockies. And now trying to defeat one of his former teams. In the air, down the left field line, David Freese can't make the play. Off his glove, and Shane Victorino gets a life.
Freese trying to make a similar catch on the third base side of the field that Albert Pujols made in that last inning. Didn't get the glove out there quite far enough. Ball might have been pushed a little bit further away from him. The wind kind of swirling around here inside Citizens Bank Park. Looked like Freese felt he was in the right position, just didn't make the play. And
David Freese is charged with an error. So now the rally towels are out in full force. Yadier Molina going out to the mound to settle down Loesch after what appeared to be the 3rd out of the inning. 1-2 to Victorino. 2 runners on base. Staying alive and getting a piece of it out of play. We mentioned the Phillies sailing along, did lose 8 in a row down the stretch. And that bothered Charlie Manuel, their manager. He says, I don't want to go into postseason with 12 straight losses, and they recovered and won their last 4. Utley is at second. Howard, the lead runner at first base. And a ground ball through the hole in left field for a base hit. Coming around is Utley to score. Stopping at second is Howard. And a great at-bat for Shane Victorino, who gets a life, and the Phillies get a run.
Once that count got to 2 strikes on Shane Victorino, it was clear to me that he was just trying to shoot the ball into the opposite field. Let it travel deep into the hitting zone. To use that old cliche, don't try to do too much. Just put the ball in play to the opposite field. And that time he found the hole on the left side for an RBI hit.
So the Phillies still with 2 runners on. And a 3-1 game. And Raul Ibanez, the oldest Philly at age 39. Loesch trying to pitch out of trouble here, and a breaking ball. First pitch, fly ball to right field. Craig calls for it in right, and that'll do it. But the Phillies get a run. It's 3-1. Bank Park in Philadelphia, and the Cardinals batting in the 5th against Roy Halladay, and a call strike to John Jay. Cardinal center fielder hitting 8th. He was out on a superb play by Ryan Howard, who flipped to Halladay for the first out in the 2nd inning. Quickly ahead of Jay, no balls and 2 strikes.
John Jay, one of the busier hitters in the National League. If you watch his approach, he starts with that wide open stance, but watch his hands. like mixing a cake back there. He gets his hands going. He has one big last loop before he gets that bat up into a hitting position. That time comes up empty.
Strikes out, and that's 5 strikeouts for Roy Halladay. Moments ago, we spoke with Phillies pitching coach Rich Doobie, and it's time to talk. Brought to you by Charles Schwab. And Rich, it looks like Roy Halladay has settled down after that first inning and is just trying to hold the fort till you get the runs. Yes.
Yeah, we're starting to crawl our way back into this thing. He made a bad pitch to Berkman, and he took advantage of it. They're dangerous in the middle of their lineup, and Berkman got a fastball pretty much in the middle and put a good swing on it. So hopefully we can hold them right there and continue to crawl back.
Rich, we've been talking about your pitching staff top to bottom. Is there a common thread among these guys? I mean, you look at the top of your rotation, it's as good as it gets. Your bottom of the rotation is as solid as any in baseball. Is there a common thread among those guys?
Well, I think it's strike throwing for one thing. They all attack the strike zone, and not only with their fastballs, most of them have real good changeups and breaking balls, and they complement each other very, very well.
Rich, thanks for being with us.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rich.
Roy Halladay had 11 straight first pitch strikes before he threw a ball to Kyle Loesch ahead of him 1-2. A ground ball backhanded by Rollins. And Loesch got down the line in a hurry. He's retired for the second out here in the 5th.
Kyle Loesch, a real good athlete. We talked about his fielding prowess out on the mound, being a sinker ball pitcher. You better be a good fielder. And he also puts the ball in play with the bat, and as he showed on that play, hustles down that first baseline.
So 2 down to outfield for Call, the Cardinal leadoff hitter. For Call with a first inning single. Stole a base and the big 3-run home run, giving the Cardinals a 3-0 lead before the Phillies came back last inning with an unearned run after Freese dropped the foul pop. Base hit by Victorino, knocking in the first run. 1-0, the count to for Call, who bounced to second his second time up. So he's 1 for 2. And 1-1 now. Cardinals were 23-9. That's going to get you into the playoffs any year. They were down by 10.5 late August, then 8.5 in September against the Braves. There's the bunt, fielded nicely by Halladay, and for Call is retired. 1-2-3 inning, and 11 in a row set down by Halladay. It's 3-1, the Cardinals lead. analysis throughout the first 2 rounds of the MLB playoffs with Cal Ripken Jr., Dennis Eckersley, and David Wells. Go behind the mic with the biggest names in sports, presented by Allstate, exclusively on SI.com. Bottom third of the Phillies order in the 5th inning against Kyle Osh, and Placido Polanco taking ball 1. Polanco fouled out to Pujols, his first trip to the plate. 1-1 now.
Charlie Manuel would much prefer to have Placido Polanco at the plate with runners on base. This is his favorite hit and run batter. Polanco for years has been one of the best in the game at hitting behind that runner. But here he is leading off the bottom half of the 5th inning.
Reaches out and pop up, and will land in the photographer's booth off to the Phillies dugout off to the right. So the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Got to be well protected. Sometimes you have to have a helmet there if you're landing a camera. Kyle Osh, who threw 22 pitches last inning when the Phillies got their run, albeit unearned. And strike 3 on the outside corner. And Polanco with a few words for Chris Guccione, and there's 1 out in the 5th. Right now, let's send it to our Atlanta studios and Matt Weiner. All right, Matt, thank you very much. As Carlos Ruiz looks at ball 1, Ruiz fly to John Jay deep to center field. First time he's been up. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 3-1 the Phillies. A shot off of Loesch. He recovers and makes the play. The ball did not wander far, so Loesch was able to make the play on the hard hit ball, and Ruiz is retired. Well, Craig Sager, you've been down there, and it looks like the Cardinals have each other's backs, don't they, after the last inning?
Well, after giving up that run in the bottom of the 4th, the Cardinals came into the dugout. It was Kyle Loesch who went up and down the dugout telling everybody, hey, it's on me, it's on me, it's my fault. He was deflecting blame from David Freese, who made that error that gave the second chance to Shane Victorino. He said, hey, I'm the one that walked Howard to face him. It's my fault.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. And now Tony La Russa. And they're checking to see whether he might have got hurt on that shot back to his foot.
You mentioned the ball did not trickle very far away from Kyle Loesch, which usually indicates a direct hit. Looked like it got him on the inside of the left ankle, perhaps the inside of the left foot. Has the wherewithal to stay with it, find the baseball, and throw on for the out. Maybe it was the outside of the right foot, somewhere down there below the ankle, and Kyle Loesch says he's okay, and back in action again. Not much reaction time there. Actually, a lucky stop that time by Kyle Loesch. If that gets between his legs into center field, it's a base hit.
You know, Bob, Carlos Ruiz in his 2 at-bats has hit the ball as hard as any of the Phillies so far in this game. 1 strike to Roy Halladay. And 1-1 to Halladay, who skied out to Craig, the right fielder. Ground ball to Freese at third. And a 1-2-3 inning. So Loesch settles down after the rocky 4th. We've completed 5 here in Philadelphia with the Cardinals in front of the Phils 3-1. episodes of Conan and all your favorite TBS shows wherever and whenever you want. Download the free TBS app at TBS.com. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Cardinals. 1-2 and 0 for the Phillies. Alan Craig up for the 3rd time against Roy Halladay and looks at a breaking pitch for a strike. Craig 0 for 2. One and one to Craig, who was an 8th round pick back in 2006 out of Cal Berkeley. Showed a lot of power in the minor leagues before he was called up. Pop foul, and Ruiz near the barrier, but it's out of play as it bounces on top of the Phillies dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Craig. He'll be followed by Albert Pujols and Lance Berkman here in the 6th.
We're seeing a little bit of a change from what Roy Halladay normally does. He tried to start the game today throwing a lot of fastballs, and the Cardinals jumped all over him in that 1st inning. He's gradually incorporated the straight changeup. We've seen a couple curve balls. We've seen a few cut fastballs. I think he likes to pitch as deep into the ballgame as he can with just his fastball and his changeup, but the Cardinals have forced him to use his whole arsenal here early.
And he's now retired 12 in a row, Bob. 6 strikeouts, and the last Cardinals reach was Schumacher with the leadoff single back in the 2nd.
That's why you say all the time, when you're facing a good pitcher, you better get him early if you have the opportunity, because once he settles in, it may be tough to get base runners.
And that's what you said the Cardinals needed to do in this game, and Tony La Russa would back you up as Albert Pujols takes a strike. Pujols has walked and grounded out, scored a run. Came around on Berkman's home run along with Furcal in the 1st inning. And Halladay quickly ahead of Pujols, no balls and 2 strikes. Pujols stays alive. There's Berkman, who has provided the Cardinals with their offense with a 3-run homer in the 1st inning. 3-1 the score. And just missing. Looked like Halladay wanted that pitch, Bob. And the count 1-2.
Like it dropped just off of the outside corner there, Dick. Big curveball from Roy Halladay. Pujols saw it right out of his hand.
Now it's 2-2. Charlie Manuel, who has his regular lineup since Hunter Pence joined the club. They've had it, what, 7 times? Pretty good record, huh?
7-0, yeah. When they've had their quote-unquote starting lineup together since Pence has been here, 7-0.
But they trail here to the Cardinals 3-1. 2-2 to Pujols, and that gets by Halladay. Here's Rollins behind second, makes the play to retire Pujols for the 2nd out.
I mentioned that Roy Halladay using his entire arsenal through this Cardinals lineup. Started Big Albert with a fastball for a called strike at 92. Then a little cutter on the outside corner that was fouled away. Tremendous movement on that straight changeup. That's the curveball that Halladay wanted. Misses with another changeup, and then it goes right back to the curveball. He felt he had a called strike on it 2 pitches before, went right back to it to get the ground ball up the middle of the field.
So 2 down, nobody on, and Lance Berkman with a big cut for strike 1. Took a big cut when he sent this one out of the park.
Yeah, hitters call this ambushing a pitcher. Jumping on the first fastball you see. He got it in a good location and did not miss it.
1-1 to Berkman, who hit 31 home runs in the regular season, knocked in 94. And with Halladay ailing as he was, a welcome power production from Lance Berkman in the regular year. Ball strike. 1-2 now to the Cardinals left fielder. strikes out. Strikeout number 7 and 14 in a row set down by Roy Halladay as the Cardinals maintain the 2-run lead. Hope to start something with the top of the order here in the 6th inning, and running up. Cabana taking a strike is Jimmy Rollins, 0 for 2, grounded to Pujols and struck out. And once again, David Freese respecting the bunt as Utley on deck for the Phillies, and a ground ball up the middle, and it'll get through into center field. Slowly hit, but it got by Schumacher and Percal, and Jimmy Rollins with a leadoff single here in the 6th. That's the 3rd hit of the game for the Phillies. Well, celebrate America's game with Chevrolet. Upload a picture of your youth player and you could win tickets to the 2011 postseason among hundreds of other MLB prizes. Be a part of the Chevy Centennial Celebration and enter for a chance to win at ChevyBaseball.com. First time in the game that the Phillies had the leadoff man on, and here is Utley, who doubled his last time up and scored the Phillies run in the 4th. Rollins with 30 stolen bases this year. Team is down, however, 3-1, and a strike to Utley.
Always tough to run on Yadier Molina. He's thrown out 44% of the attempted base stealers in his career. And Kyle Loesch on the mound unloads the ball so quickly there have only been 3 stolen base attempts when he's on the mound all year.
One ball and 1 strike to Chase Utley, and the big boppers for the Phillies are waiting. That's Hunter Pence and Ryan Howard to follow. Cardinals lead 3-1. They scored 3 in the first inning on Berkman's 3-run homer. And the Phillies got an unearned run in the fourth with Victorino with an RBI single. Howard in the hole, waiting for his opportunity to get to the on-deck circle. 1 ball and 1 strike. Utley represents the tying run at the plate with nobody out. Pop-up, Pujols trying to track it down, and it's about 10 rows out of play. So the count now 1-2 to Chase Utley. You're looking at pitch count. This is what the 2 pitchers have shown so far, Bob.
A very easy start for Kyle Loesch. 6 in the first, 6 in the second. He struggled a little bit in the 4th inning after that drop foul pop-up. But as efficient as you can possibly be up to this point of the ball game, and for Halladay, just that first inning when he struggled.
Rollins with that lead at first. Held on by Pujols. And dives back. Cardinals won the season series 6-3 over the Phillies, but neither manager puts much stock in that. Cardinals won 3 after the Phillies had clinched, and earlier in the year, the Phils weren't in full strength. And time is called. And Molina will go to the mound. You mentioned Loesch throwing the most pitches he has in the game in an inning in the 4th, when the unearned run, the pop-up that was dropped and then single by Victorino, settled down and retired the Phillies in order in the 5th. Now Rollins singles. This is a big inning for Loesch to try to short circuit the Phillies. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Utley with Pence on deck. And a weak swing and a strikeout as Utley goes down, as Loesch had Utley fooled tremendously.
Both these pitchers having an outstanding straight changeup in the ball game tonight. A little bit more movement perhaps on the changeup from Roy Halladay, but great location on that pitch from Kyle Loesch. Gets a real good hitter to chase a bad pitch in the dirt there for strike 3.
So there's 1 away, and Rollins remaining at first. Has 4 strikeouts now for Loesch, and here's Hunter Pence, struck out his last time up, 0 for 2 on the day. And a shot up the middle and a base hit by Hunter Pence to center field. Rollins will stop at second, and the Phillies now with 2 on and 1 out, and Ryan Howard coming to the plate.
Just listen to this swing from Hunter Pence. Listen to the grunt as he makes contact. Talk about a maximum effort player. That's the very definition of a max effort player right there.
And the crack of the bat and the grunt were equal in the decibel department. Here's Howard. Line to left and walk. Tying runs are on base for Ryan Howard, who hit 33 homers in the regular year. And 1-0 to Ryan Howard, who's a native of St. Louis, in his 10th postseason. Rollins at second and Pence with the lead at first. And way in front of that pitch was Howard, and the count 1-1. For the 6th straight season, Ryan Howard hit 30 or more homers and 100 RBIs. First Philly to drive in 100 runs or more for 6 straight seasons. Again in tight, and it's 2-1.
Cardinals led the National League with 167 double plays turned defensively this season. Not an easy thing with Ryan Howard because he's such an extreme fly ball hitter.
Burkall shaded towards second to keep Rollins close. And just getting a piece of it, Ryan Howard with the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See the pull shift, the shortstop playing pretty much right up the middle of the field. David Freese, like the Maytag repairman over there on the left side of the infield all by himself.
He's got to get the uniform, though, to do that job. Doesn't have the right one on. Two on and 1 out. The 2-2 from Loach. Just missing outside. And the count is full with Shane Victorino on deck for the Phillies. He knocked in their first run back in the 4th.
Well, if you believe in sequences, we'll probably see a changeup from Kyle Loach right here.
And that's what he got, and Ryan just gets a piece of it.
Well, that's a pitch you want to get him out on right there. Now, you don't want to stick with the sequence that you've been using throughout the at-bat. Ryan Howard's no dummy.
You must have been a catcher at some point.
A poor hitting catcher.
Again, 3-2. The runners go, and protecting the plate with the runners off. Howard fouls it off again. The next pitch will be the 8th from Loach to Ryan Howard.
Well, the difference now in a full count, earlier in the count, you could use a fastball off the plate to set up the next changeup. But now at a 3-2 count, you cannot afford to throw a fastball off the plate inside to set up another pitch because a fastball inside is going to be ball 4 to load him up.
So his options here.
I think he's going to stick with the changeup myself. He's got a real good one today. He's missed his spot a couple times in this at bat. If he keeps it down, it'll be a good pitch.
Rollins and Pence on the bases. Will they take off again? And off the rubber. And just in case Rollins was thinking about it, a bluff to second.
That's a great equalizer, that inside move at second base for an aggressive base runner.
Runners don't go, and a pitch is hit deep to right field. Way back, and gone. Ryan Howard gives the Phillies the lead. In Philadelphia, Shane Victorino takes ball 1. And a curtain call for Ryan Howard as Dave Duncan, the Cardinal pitching coach, goes to the mound.
Well, Dick, let's take a look at that sequence of pitches. Kyle Loach against big Ryan Howard. He started him with a fastball in for ball 1 just to establish his speed. Then he comes back with a changeup away. Another fastball in to set up another changeup. But look at the location that time. He left it inside. That's the one he really wanted to have something happen right there. And each successive changeup a little higher until ultimately Ryan Howard absolutely crushes the last one for a 3-run bomb.
Victorino with a drive down the right field line. That hooks foul. Very close to hitting the foul pole.
You know, Dick, I don't even watch the ball anymore on plays like this. I watch the hitter because he has the best view of that drive down the line, and Victorino stopped in his tracks.
And this crowd has raised the decibel. Very quiet early on when Berkman hit the 3-run homer, but Halladay has settled down, and Charlie Manuel telling us just hold the game down so we can come back offensively, and that's what Halladay has done, and the Phillies have responded here as Ryan Howard with his 8th postseason home run, a 3-run drive, putting them in front 4-3 here in the 6th. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out, and bullpen activity for the Cardinals. And a ground ball, base hit to right field. That's the 4th hit of the inning off of Kyle Loesch. Octavio Dotel has begun warming up for the Cardinals, and Victorino is on with 1 out. There's Dotel. Veteran right-hander as Raul Ibanez steps to the plate.
Very little stride, if any, from Ryan Howard. Just kind of picks up that front foot, puts it right back down, lets his hands do the talking.
Here is Ibanez, 0 for 2. And it's ball 1 inside. So this place explodes, and the Philly fans looking for more here with 1 out. Victorino on at first and gets back. So 21 pitches thrown by Kyle Loesch here in this 6th inning. Through 6 in each of the first 2 innings. And over 20 in the 4th. And right now, Loesch having trouble with his location, falling behind 2-0 to Ibanez. It all started with the leadoff single by Jimmy Rollins. And after 1 out, Hunter Pence with a roller that got through into center field, and then Howard delivered the 3-1 blast. Victorino with a base hit on at first. Ibanez looking for a good pitch here, and he hits a drive deep to right, and this one is out of here. Two-run homer for Ibanez, and it's 6-3. And they've been smoked, Bob.
Oh, absolutely, and it's really a nice adjustment that the Phillies have made to get on that Kyle Loesch changeup. That's another one that just hangs out over that outside part of the plate up in the zone. The Ryan Howard homer was a high changeup. That one, a changeup right in the middle of the strike zone. It's obvious to me the Phillies have been looking for that pitch the whole inning.
So Tony La Russa comes out and gets Kyle Loesch. The Phillies lead 6-3, and Octavio Dotel will be coming in. The excitement here on a cloudy day in Philly. here in the 6th inning, and Octavio Dotel is the new pitcher for the Cardinals. 37-year-old right-hander was acquired in a trade late July with the Toronto Blue Jays. Edwin Jackson, also a key pitcher who did well down the stretch, came along in the deal. And the batter is Placido Polanco, and he takes strike one from Dotel.
See the numbers for Dotel this season. Good fastball, kind of a slurvy slider, also throws an occasional curveball.
He likes to wear those socks high, and this is a foul ball. And the third base umpire, Angel Hernandez, all over it behind the bag.
It's coming right at him. Ball bouncing right down the chalk. Hit chalk in front of the bag, but it appeared to be in foul territory when it crossed the base at third.
So Dotel, who won 3 games in September, pitching for his 12th team in his career. 0-2 to Polanco with 1 out and the base is clear. The Cardinals with such high hopes after taking that 3-0 lead, Bob, and Loesch doing a good job of sailing along. Meanwhile, Roy Halladay has done his job.
Roy Halladay has done an amazing job of keeping his team in the ballgame until they could make the proper adjustments at the plate, and they really exploded with the bats in this inning.
And Polanco strikes out for out number 2 here in the 6th inning. Fans catch all the action of the 2011 Major League Baseball Division Series right here on TBS. Join the postseason debate at MLBFanCave.com and follow the action on Twitter with the hashtag postseason. Legends are born in October. Carlos Ruiz, who has flied to center and hit one back to the mound, has hit the ball hard, though retired his first 2 times up. Fouls off the first pitch from Dotel, strike 1. Ruiz is the 8th batter to bat for the Phillies here in the 6th inning. And Halladay would be next. Waves at that one, and it's 0-2. Fouled at the plate. Well, in game 2, Chris Carpenter, he struck out. And we'll talk more about the number 2 game pitcher for the Cardinals. Ruiz strikes out, 8 men come up, and a big inning with 5 runs coming across. WHIP. And for those unfamiliar with WHIP, WHIP refers to walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. The language of the game, brought to you by Foster's. David Freese swings and misses for strike one, and there you see in the language of the game, Roy Halladay speaks the right language there. 3 Phillies on that list, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike to Freese. Roy Halladay has set down the last 14 Cardinals he's faced. Freese is 0 for 2. Chops this one. Polanco on the big hop. 1 down in the 7th inning. With Yadier Molina coming up for St. Louis. Halladay threw the most pitches of any inning, 20 in that first inning when he gave up the 3-run homer to Berkman, but has settled down and has thrown 76 pitches thus far. Yadier Molina, the batter. No balls and a strike to Molina, who has bounced to third and struck out. And is ahead of Molina, 2 strikes.
We were well aware that Halladay was capable of this kind of a streak of dominance. All you have to do is ask the Cincinnati Reds. He no-hit them in his first start in the postseason last year. After those first inning struggles, he has been fantastic.
Fouled off the chest protector, and it's still no balls and 2 strikes. Halladay has given up 3 hits, 2 in the first inning for Call's single and Berkman's homer. And then Schumacher led off the second inning with a single. And since then, 16 in a row retired by Halladay. Trying to make it number 17. But it's 1-2 now to the Cardinal catcher. Phillies in front 6-3, trying to take a 1-0 lead in the best of 5. Now 2-2. And a new baseball for Halladay. Halladay had the fewest walks per 9 innings this year, under 1.5. He has walked 1 and struck out 7, and foul ball, and still 2-2 to Molina.
And the 1 walk was to Big Albert Pujols back in that first inning. He scored ahead of the Lance Berkman 3-run homer, but boy, since then he has either been in the strike zone or around the edges of the strike zone. Very consistent.
Molina making Halladay work here with 1 out of the 7th. The crowd at least wanted that one, and it's full 3 balls and 2 strikes to Molina. How close was this pitch?
Well, it was close, but not close enough. Little comeback 2-seam fastball that just stayed off the outside corner.
And a foul at the plate. So a good at bat here for Molina. 9 pitches thrown by Halladay against Molina. Interesting that the string of 16 in a row started with the outstanding defensive play by Ryan Howard, with nobody out back in the 2nd inning. And there's a shot handled nicely by Rollins, and that'll be the 2nd out. 2 down in the 7th with Skip Schumacher coming up. Let's look at tomorrow's division series schedule. The Tigers and the Yankees. That'll be game 2 at 3 o'clock. Diamondbacks and the Brewers. That'll be on TBS, with the Brewers winning 4-1 to take a 1-0 lead over Arizona today. Game 2 of our series here in Philadelphia will start at 8:30 p.m. And notice the pitcher scheduled to work. Chris Carpenter getting the nod in game number 2. First time in his career, Bob, he'll be working with 3 days rest.
Well, his last outing, he was so efficient and was working so easily that I think Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa feel very comfortable sending him out there on short rest.
And 18 in a row now retired by Halladay. It'll be Cliff Lee, yet another ace that the Phillies have. And the Phillies with a 6-3 lead into the home 7th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Exclusive views of today's action provided by MetLife. To also see how MetLife tools and resources can help you build a personal safety net, visit MetLife.com today. So correction, 18 set down by Roy Halladay, and the Phillies with a 3-run lead as they come up in the 7th inning against a new Cardinal pitcher, Mark Zepchinski. 26-year-old left-hander from Anaheim, California. Last pitch Tuesday at Houston. So there is Zepchinski, who will be a great name to use if you're playing Scrabble.
Well, that's actually what his teammates call it. Scrabble, one of his nicknames, or eye chart, either one. Good tailing fastball, good slider. He has been death on left-handed hitters this year, holding to a 163 batting average. Surrendered only 17 hits to lefties all year. Only 4 of those went for extra bases.
And there is a new third baseman as well. Daniel Descalso has replaced Freese at third. Descalso will bat in the number 9 spot, and the pitcher's position will be number 5 in the Cardinal order. So there is Descalso, who you heard Tony La Russa talk before. If he were to maintain the lead, was going to go with the good glove man in Descalso. And he's in there now. with the Cardinals down by 3. And Roy Halladay leading off in the 7th inning. Halladay 0 for 2 has fly to right and grounded to David Freese, the third baseman at the time. Foul ball whistled past Sam Berlasso, the first base coach. Ball strike 2 to the Phillies' brilliant right-hander, Zepchinski, also coming over in that Colby Rasmus trade from Toronto, as did Dotel, who last inning came on and struck out 2 batters to end the onslaught, as the Phillies scored 5 runs with the big blows, the 3-run homer by Ryan Howard and a 2-run home run, both really hit hard into the right field stands by Raul Ibanez. This one off the glove of Zepchinski, and Halladay is going to reach first base. It'll be a base hit. Roy Halladay with a single.
Zepchinski maybe caught by surprise that Halladay even put the ball in play. Wasn't really hit that hard, just a stab out there on the mound. He slows it down enough that the Cardinals have no play on the Phillies starter. He'll go down to first base for the top of the Phillies batting order.
Bob, the Phillies had 5 hits last inning in getting their 5 runs. Now have 8 hits in the game, and Jimmy Rollins, who started it all off last inning with a single to center field, 1 for 3 in the game. 1-0 to Rollins.
And Rollins, a switch hitter, obviously. This is the side of the plate you would much prefer to have him bat from. Over 50 points lower from the right side of the plate.
And a base hit to right field. Halladay will stop at second as Craig gets the ball back. So Phillies with back-to-back singles here in the 7th inning, trying to add to their 6-3 lead with Chase Utley stepping up. For Rollins, his second hit of the game and his second hit in as many innings.
Pitch away from him. He stayed right on it, drives it out into right field for a base hit. Claudio Molina making his way out to the mound here to stall for a little bit of time and talk it over with his lefty exactly what they're going to do should Chase Utley attempt to bunt. I don't think there's any chance in the world that that's going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Phillies have a 3-run lead in the game. Charlie Manuel does not like to give up outs. Although the lefty-on-lefty matchup, Utley may be thinking in the back of his mind, the best thing I can do to help the team is to move those runners up.
Mitchell Boggs. The reason why Molina went out to stall for time to give Boggs a chance. Here's Utley, 1 for 3 with a double, and looking to bunt in that pitch inside as Cardinals were playing it for the sacrifice with Hunter Pence on deck. 9 hits for the Phillies.
You'd expect the Cardinals to be very aggressive defensively. Should Utley put down the bunt, you've got the pitcher running at second base. Good opportunity to possibly get that lead runner at third.
Descalso playing close to third base, and a call strike, 1-1 now to Chase Utley.
It looks like on the last 2 pitches that the pitcher, Mark Zepchinski, has responsibility for the left side of the infield. He is a left-handed thrower. It'd be a very natural play for him to come off that mound to the third base side, field the bunt, and throw to Descalso covering the bag at third. But if it gets past the pitcher, Descalso will come in and make sure they get an out.
1-1 from Zepchinski, missing outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Ryan Howard, who exploded with a 3-run homer, followed 2 batters later by Raul Ibanez, 2-run blast. Phillies were trailing 3-0 before getting an unearned run in the 4th. And then now with a 6-3 lead and looking for more. 2-2 now to Utley. Halladay started off this 7th inning with an infield hit that was slowed down by Zepchinski, the pitcher, and then Rollins followed with his 2nd straight hit. Two. There's a base hit to center field. Halladay held up and will be stopped at 3rd, and the bases are loaded. Nobody out to Hunter Pence.
Couple of really good professional at-bats in this inning. Jimmy Rollins going to the opposite field for his base hit. Chase Utley, even though he cues it off the end of the bat, he stayed back long enough on that slider, finds the hole up the middle, loading him up for the middle of the Phillies order.
And Tony La Russa is going to get Zepchinski, bringing Mitchell Boggs. Phillies with the bases loaded, none out. Roy Halladay, who started it with an infield hit at 3rd. Rollins at 2nd, Utley at 1st, and here is the 4th pitcher of the game for the Cardinals, 27-year-old Mitchell Boggs.
Boggs, a hard thrower, average fastball sits in the mid-90s, throws a hard slider to go along with it. He has a changeup, he rarely uses it, especially in tough situations like this.
Phillies hitters were 2 for 17 to start the game, but they have been 8 of their last 11 since, and they're like sharks in the water right here after trailing 3-0, trying to put away the Cardinals emphatically here. They got 5 last inning, all coming on 2 home runs, and now Hunter Pence with the bases loaded and nobody out, 1 for 3 with a single, and scored a run. Midfield is playing in, and a swinging bunt, and Boggs goes to home, and Molina gets the force at home. Lost his balance, but had to keep his foot on the bag, and Halladay is retired. The bases remain loaded now with 1 out.
A little jam shot dribbler back to the mound. Boggs had a little more time than he realized here. He rushes his throw, forcing Molina to go down in the dirt and pick it. No chance to turn a double play. Better feed right there. They may have had an opportunity to get 2 outs, but Molina just wanted to make sure they got 1 at home.
Well, here's the big guy, Ryan Howard, with the bases loaded and 1 out. Rollins, the runner, at 3rd, Utley at 2nd, and Hunter Pence at 1st. Howard with the 3-run blast last inning to give the Phils the lead for the first time in the game, 4-3. They've added to that since then and trying to tack on some more. Big swing. 0-1 to Howard. There you see the output offensively for the Phillies. And it's 0-2 to the slugging first baseman.
Velocity 97 on that last fastball from Boggs to Ryan Howard, having a little trouble catching up to that one.
Boggs trying to keep it to a 3-run game here and not let the Phillies explode for more. If 3 runs is an asset against Halladay, going into the 8th inning, and the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Halladay, who got a hit and had to run the bases this inning. Mitchell Boggs looking in at Molina. Fouled away again.
Well, this little bit of a shift that they have on here with the bases loaded for Ryan Howard. Daniel Descalso is way off the third baseline, and Jimmy Rollins is getting a third, maybe half of the way down that third baseline as he takes his secondary lead. You can see he's way, almost halfway down that line. A ball in the dirt that doesn't get too far away from Yadier Molina. He may try to score.
Drive right field. Craig is there to make the catch. Rollins will tag up and score. And the runners will remain at first and second, and the Phillies now take a 7-3 lead. Howard with his 4th RBI of the game.
I'll tell you, Dick, the only thing that kept this smash in the ballpark was topspin. Ryan Howard got out and around that ball, had a lot of topspin as it got out to Alan Craig in right field. Looked like it was going to go over his head initially. He's able to make the play before he gets to the warning track, but plenty of time for Jimmy Rollins to tag and score.
Utley remains at second and Pence at first. 2 down now to Shane Victorino, who has an RBI single back in the 4th inning. Singled in the 6th as well. 2 for 3 on the night. Oh, 0-1 to Victorino. Victorino has had to battle injuries this year as well. Check swing, and he went around, and it's now 0-2 to the Phillies center fielder.
We saw Victorino back in that 4th inning with 2 strikes just give in and make up his mind he was going to hit the ball to the opposite field. See if he does it in this situation with 2 strikes.
Hit to right field. Here comes Utley. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. The run scores, and the Phillies now lead 8-3. Victorino with his 2nd RBI of the game, 3rd straight hit. Hunter Pence advances to second.
Nothing off speed about this at all. Looked like a slider down over the heart of the plate. Victorino got out in front. It's a bullet to Alan Craig in right field. Thought there might be a play at the plate right there, but Chase Utley just outran the throw to home. A little bit on the first base side of home plate. You can see Molina tried to turn his back to the runner and get the tag down in front of home plate, but Chase Utley well ahead of that throw to the plate.
So 2 runs in, it's now 8-3, and here's Raul Ibanez. And the runners were off on the pitch, fouled out of play, strike 1. So Utley, scoring 2 runs in this game, has 2 hits, and the Phillies bats have come alive with 5 in the 6th, 2 more here in the 7th inning. One and one. So Rollins has 2 hits. Utley has a pair. Ryan Howard has driven in 4 runs. Victorino has 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and Ibanez a 2-run homer. And he takes inside, and it's 2-1.
Ibanez also hitting a hanging changeup up and out over the plate. Phillies hitters really took advantage of Kyle Loesch's lack of command of his off-speed pitch in that 6th inning.
2 down, 2 on, and the 1-2 pitch grounded, base hit past Schumacher into right field. And here comes the throw, not in time. Scoring is Hunter Pence. Victorino goes to third, and the Phillies now lead it 9-3.
Good velocity for Mitchell Boggs, but when you can basically eliminate the breaking pitch because he hasn't been able to throw it consistently for strikes, if you send major league hitters to the plate locked in on a fastball, I don't care how hard you throw it, it's going to get hit hard.
And the Phillies with 10 hits in each of the last 2 innings. John Mayberry is going to get into the game and pinch run for Ibanez at first base. Here is Polanco, who's the 8th man to bat here in the 7th, and he takes a strike.
That's a defensive move that Charlie Manuel will make late in a ball game when the Phillies have a lead. Take Ibanez out, bring Mayberry in, improve your defense.
They can go any way they want right now as they have broken open this game. Fly ball to right field, and Craig is there to make the catch. Phillies send 8 men to the plate in the 6th and the 7th, scoring 8 runs on 10 hits, leading 9-3 over the Cardinals, who will come up in the 8th. 24/7 Pacquiao Marquez coming only to HBO. An explosion by the Phillies here in the 6th and 7th innings, with 5 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th inning, and Roy Halladay, who has retired 18 straight Cardinals. There's John Mayberry, who replaces Raul Ibanez in left field, went in as a pinch runner for him. And a pounding ball foul off the bat of John Jay, and there's the count of 1-1. Jay is 0 for 2 in this game. What a shock, Bob, for the Cardinals, who had to be encouraged by the home run output, 3-run lead, and Loesch sailing along at least early on.
Got to play 27 outs. You know, the Roy Halladay was probably going to settle in and stifle the Cardinals' offense to a certain extent, but man, this explosion by the Phillies, they've been struggling to score runs pretty much all season long, and for Charlie Manuel's guys to go out and put up 8 runs on 10 hits over 2 innings, I think that's surprising even to the Philly fans.
3 balls and a strike to Jay, who will be followed by Descalso batting in the number 9 position. There's the rest of the vaunted starters. Cliff Lee, who goes tomorrow. Hamels, who will go in game 3, and there is a foul ball, and the count now 3-2 to Jay. And it was Jay who made the first out back in the 2nd inning after Schumacher had started it with a single in a play that Ryan Howard made, a terrific play, then tossed to Halladay, and that started the string of 18 straight hitters set down by Howard. Payoff pitch, slowly hit to the right side. Halladay gets there, and Jay's retired for out number 1 here in the 8th inning.
You know, Dick, thinking back to our managers' meetings much earlier this afternoon, I thought it was very telling when Tony La Russa said, if our starting pitching gives us a chance, then we have a chance as a team. Talking to Charlie Manuel, he says our starting pitching might be better than advertised, if that's possible.
And the point that you mentioned earlier, he said that if they can hold the opposition till we get our bats going, and that's exactly what's happened here in this game. Here is Descalso batting for the first time, batting in the number 9 position, hitting .264 with a homer and 28 runs batted in. 0-1 to him.
I think that was the reflections of 2 different managers. Charlie Manuel, in his case, watching a staff full of Cy Young winners go about their business on a daily basis, saying they might even be better than people think they are. And Tony La Russa, who's seen his staff struggle at times this year, saying if they just give us a chance.
Descalso strikes out, and that is the 8th strikeout of the game by Halladay, who has now retired 20 straight hitters.
Boy, Halladay's got it all working now. He can throw just about any pitch he wants in any count to any hitter. Keeping everything down in the strike zone with tremendous movement. Has retired the last 20 in a row.
And you would thought that might be a tall order after that first inning by the Cardinals. You can't say that Halladay is not going to be able to pull that off, but the way he has totally shut the door on the Cardinals, while the Phillies went to work offensively. This is Halladay's 100th pitch, and it's fouled off by Furcal, and the count is 1-1. There you see the 20 pitches in the first inning, and settling down, fouled out of play.
You know, Dick, I don't think it was a factor, but we'll have to ask Roy Halladay tomorrow. Sometimes pitchers are such creatures of habit. And in a postseason game, there's a lot of hoopla before the game. You start to warm up, you realize I'm too soon, I need to slow down a little bit. Maybe his preparation was thrown a little off kilter today. Although it didn't seem to bother him last year against the Reds in Game 1 of the division series. But maybe there were some changes today that disrupted his routine and caused him to be less effective in that first inning.
He certainly was in that first inning, not as effective as we've seen him. Foul ball. But now State to a 6-run lead here in the top of the 8th inning, game number 1. Best of 5. And the winner of this series will play the survivor of the Brewers and the D-backs. And the Brewers struck first, winning 4-1 earlier today. And a foul ball for Call, who was 1 for 3 with a first inning single, hanging in there against Halladay. At least trying to break the string of 20s in a row. And a line drive left field and caught by Mayberry. Another 1-2-3 inning. That's 21 in a row. Retired by Halladay. 9-3 the Phillies. October 18th, prepare for nerd domination. Don't miss the Big Bang Theory, all new to TBS, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, starting October 18th. There's the line score, and Cardinals had the lead until the 6th inning. But the Phillies exploding. Now batting in the bottom of the 8th, Mitchell Boggs. Again out there for the Cardinals. And the ground ball, Carlos Ruiz rounding to Furcal, who makes the play. And there's one away in the 8th as we send it to Atlanta and Matt Weiner. All right, Matt, thank you very much. And Roy Halladay getting a huge ovation as he came to the plate, and will be out for the complete game in the 9th as he Comes up for the 4th time. Infield hit his last time up. 1 out. And the count 1-1 to Roy Halladay. Charlie Manuel. 102 wins, and that broke the record for the most franchise victories in a season for the Phillies. We look upon this series as the second step. The first was winning the division, now the division series, and they're looking for bigger targets. 3-1 to Halladay. Two now. Halladay started to make a move toward first.
You know, given the way this Phillies team is assembled, the strong starting pitching, the veteran presence all over the diamond, I think they will not settle for anything less than a World Series this year. They feel like this team is built to win a World Series. Some of their players are on the downside of their career. Possibly this may be their last run at it. Just a postseason appearance is not enough for Charlie Manuel and the Phillies.
Again, Boggs' 3-2 pitch to Halladay, who strikes out, and there are 2 down. Well, game 2 will be tomorrow night. Craig Sager with more.
Well, Chris Carpenter will get the call for the Cardinals, pitching on 3 days rest for the first time in his career. Tony La Russa asked him if he'd do it. He said, listen, I didn't work that hard last Wednesday in Houston. My body feels great. As to what we can expect, he says, listen, I have 4 pitches, a fastball, a curveball, a cutter, and a changeup. I don't care what they've done against me in the past. I'm going to go right at them and attack the strike zone.
All right, that's the plan, Craig, as Jimmy Rollins takes ball 1. Rollins is 2 for 4 with a pair of singles. So Lee against Carpenter, and Carpenter coming off the 2-hit shutout on the final day of the regular season. As the Cardinals beat the Astros, it was the only non-dramatic game of the 4 we had that night.
Well, like Chris Carpenter said, he didn't feel like he had to work that hard in the ball game. Sometimes pitch count is immaterial. There are close games where every pitch feels like 5, and other games where you're cruising and it just feels like you're playing catch with the catcher. That's what it certainly looked like for Chris Carpenter last time out.
And the pitcher and the pitching coach and the manager knows best in those situations. So Carpenter tomorrow in game 2, foul down the first base line, and Cliff Lee, so that shapes up as a terrific matchup.
You would assume going into it that runs will be at a premium. I mean, we thought that it would be the same thing here tonight, and the Phillies, after a slow start, proved us wrong in that 6th and 7th inning. But with Carpenter against Cliff Lee, you would have to assume it's going to be a low-scoring ball game.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Rollins with 2 outs, nobody on base, and just missing and a full count. Dave Duncan, who has been a tremendous lieutenant for Tony La Russa. Many times Tony will immediately defer any credit to what Dave Duncan has contributed over the years.
Dave Duncan, a rarity, a guy who was a catcher during his playing days, but has become one of the best pitching coaches in the history of the game.
Walk to Rollins, and Chase Utley will come up with 2 down and a runner at first. Interesting that the game set up here in this series that you had the team that scored the most runs, the Cardinals, against the team that prevented the runs better than anyone, the Phillies. And so the Phillies have followed suit in preventing runs, but they have scored a bushel themselves with 5 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th en route to a 9-3 lead. Ball strike to Utley, who has a single and a double and has scored a pair. Oh, and 2 now to Utley, and Cardinals trailing by 6 runs in the 9th inning. They'll have the scheduled hitters Craig, Pujols, and Berkman. Halladay trying to finish and get the complete game victory. Arthur Rhodes throwing for the Cardinals just in case. there's more trouble by the Phillies offense. The count still 0-2.
Well, Dick, you never stop trying to win a ball game, but at this point I think Tony La Russa would be content if he could force Charlie Manuel into that bullpen. Get Halladay out of the ball game, run his pitch count up to a point where Charlie feels like he needs to go into the bullpen. Take your chances against a reliever or two down there. At least make him get into his bullpen.
Kyle Lowe started, worked 5 1/3. He allowed 6 runs on 7 hits and 2 home runs, both in the 6th inning. Ryan Howard, a 3-run blast, and Raul Ibanez, 2 batters later, hitting 1 out, a 2-run home. And a drive hit down the right field line. It's going to be close, and it's a fair ball. Extra bases for Utley. Rollins will be held at third as the throw comes to the plate. And Utley with his 3rd hit of the game and 2nd double. And now runners at 2nd and 3rd.
Just a screaming Ryan Brown. Stays about 5 feet fair down into the corner. Nice play by Alan Craig to get over there on the ball quickly. Unleashed a throw all the way to home plate on a hop to hold Jimmy Rollins at 3rd base.
And on the game that can be seen on TNT, the Tampa Bay Rays at it again, leading the Texas Rangers 1-0, playing the top of the 2nd of that game 2. Rays won game 1. And a call strike to Hunter Pence, 0-1. Pence is 1 for 4 with a single and has scored 1 of the 9 runs. Two runners in scoring position. All coming after 2 are out for the Phillies. And there's a base hit up the middle by Hunter Pence. 2 runs will score. And the Phillies now extend their lead to 11-3. And that'll be all for Boggs as Tony La Russa will come out. Arthur Rhodes has been warming up in the bullpen, and we'll take a break. What a hitting onslaught in the 6th, 7th, and again here in the 8th inning for the Phillies. A lot of postseason action on TBS coverage and TNT as well with that Tampa Bay Texas game. And here's 41-year-old Arthur Rhodes. He is the fifth pitcher of the night for the Cardinals.
Ryan Howard 2 for 8 lifetime against the Cardinal lefty. However, both base hits were extra bases. 1 home run, 1 double. Throws basically a 2-pitch guy, fastball, slider. He has thrown a changeup at different points in his career, but this particular situation probably just see the heater and the slider.
Ryan Howard with a 3-run homer and a sacrifice fly has knocked in 4 runs as the Phillies exploding the last 3 innings at the plate, and Howard taking ball 1. 10 runs on 12 hits in the 6th, 7th, and 2 out here in the 8th inning. Hunter Pence getting his first 2 RBIs in postseason. 2-0 to Howard. $14 hits off the Phillies bats tonight. Out hit the Cardinals 14-3. The call strike is 2-1. Michael Stutz is tossing in the Phillies bullpen. Roy Halladay came up and there's a ground ball. Schumacher on the outfield grass will make the play to retire the side. 2 more runs cross for the Phillies, who will take an 11-3 lead as the Cardinals bat in the 9th. Provided by MetLife. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. Start building your personal safety net with MetLife today. Well, Roy Halladay departs after 8 innings, and Michael Stutz, the 25-year-old right-hander from Lake Oswego, Oregon. Strike 1 to Alan Craig. Last pitched on Wednesday, retiring the Braves in order in the 9th. Good pitching performance for the Phillies, who ended up winning in 13. Foul tip into the glove of Ruiz, and it's 2 strikes.
Look at the numbers for Michael Stutz this season. Good fastball, good hard slider. He came up when Jose Contreras went on the disabled list and did a real fine job winning 6 games out of the bullpen.
1-2 to Craig with Pujols and Berkman to follow. So Roy Halladay goes 8 innings, allows 3 earned runs, 8 strikeouts and 1 walk, and retired the last 21 batters he faced. Low and away again, and it's 2-2 to Craig, who's 0 for 3 tonight. This crowd's silent early when Berkman hit the 3-run homer to give the Cardinals a lead. Then getting into the game in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And now sitting back and enjoying the final moments of this 11-3 game.
I think a lot of the conversations in the stands here at Citizens Bank Park about tomorrow's game. Already looking forward to their lefty Cliff Lee taking the mound. What a great pitcher's duel that should be tomorrow with Cliff Lee and Chris Carpenter hooking up.
Phillies want to back up the feeling that their starters amongst the best we've seen in baseball in many years. You could talk about the great staffs. The Braves, of course, in the early 90s with Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. Oriole, great starters that they had. They had 4 20-game winners back in the 70s. This is very strong starting staff. And ball 4, Craig draws a leadoff walk from Stutz here in the ninth. And Albert Pujols, who was 0 for 2 with a first inning walk coming up. You have to go back to Game 3 of the 1993 World Series. 14 runs scored, the only postseason games when the Phillies have scored more than the 11 that they have put on the board tonight. They have had 11 in the past. One and 0 to Pujols. And a shot to center field. Albert Pujols with his first hit of the game, and the first hit for the Cardinals since the 2nd inning. Pujols on base twice, and runners at first and second, nobody out, and Lance Berkman will be coming up.
Right, nothing at all against Michael Stutz or any other relief pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, but right now the Cardinals have to feel like they've been let out of jail. They don't have to face Roy Halladay anymore tonight. Well, they feel pretty good about taking these at bats here in the 9th inning.
So meeting at the mound with Ruiz and Stutz, and Berkman coming up, and we're going to have a pinch hitter. Here's Matson, who established himself as the closer for the Phillies during the year with Brad Lidge, the setup man. And the first pitch missing, 1-0. Adron Chambers, you saw him in the on-deck circle. And that's the pitcher spot. And we're going to have a pinch runner right here as Pujols goes out of the game. And it'll be the backup catcher, Gerald Laird.
This has got to be the highlight of Gerald Laird's career. Coming into the game as a pinch runner in the postseason. Granted, his team is down by 8 runs at this point, but boy, what a thrill for a backup catcher to get into the game as a pinch runner.
And you would say great move for Tony La Russa, getting that catcher in the game.
Get as many catchers in the game as you can.
1 ball, 1 strike to Lance Berkman, the 3-run homer in the first inning. 1 for 3. So there is Laird, the pinch runner. Craig, who led off with a walk, is at second. In an 11-3 lead for the Phillies in the 9th. In tight. And it's 2-1. Well, the Cardinals did get into the Phillies bullpen, as you pointed out, something that would be some kind of an achievement with Stute starting the inning and Madsen warming up.
And maybe advantageous later in the series if they have to face Stutes and perhaps Madsen if we see him in the ball game here. The more looks you can get, especially at the tail end of an opposing team's bullpen early in the series, better you like your chances of getting to him later in the series.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Berkman. Two runners with their leads, and foul ball into the Phillies dugout. Tampa Bay Rays still lead the Texas Rangers 1-0 in the top of the 3rd inning in their game in Texas. Michael Stutes. With a 2.08 earned run average in his first 23 games, trying to dispose of Berkman. Ground ball, Utley, and he can only get the force to Rollins at second. As Craig goes to third, there are 2 down. And Berkman becomes the base runner on a fielder's choice. And Adron Chambers with 1 out. Runners at first and third. So here is Chambers, who hit .277. 10 homers at Memphis, called up in the beginning of September. Wouldn't you know it, his first major league hit beat the Phillies in the 11th inning back on September 16th. That pitch is low, 1-0. Big cut, 1-1 now to Chambers. Phillies trying to dispose of the Cardinals here in the 9th inning and take a 1-0 lead. Ground ball, base hit to right field, and Craig will come around and score. Stopping at second is the pinch runner Laird. So Adron Chambers delivers an RBI base hit. So he likes Phillies pitching. And the score now 11-4. Still 1 out, runners at first and second. And the batter will be Yadier Molina. So Stutes in relief of Roy Halladay, who worked 8 innings, retiring the last 21. Giving up a walk to start it to Craig. Single to Pujols. Fielder's choice and an RBI single by Chambers, the rookie, as Molina fouls it away. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Crowd of 46,480. That's the 3rd largest at Citizens Bank Park history. Ground ball and a base hit through the hole in left field. Stopping at third will be Laird. Bases are loaded as Molina gets his first hit of the game. And Skip Schumacher coming up with the bases loaded. And Charlie Manuel has seen enough. He'll come out to the mound. And Ryan Madsen will come in. The bases are loaded with 1 out here in the 9th inning. The Cardinals still fighting, but trailing by 7 runs. Thursday night for TBS's coverage on both TBS and TNT, Ryan Madsen, who converted 32 of 35 save opportunities, called in here in an 11-4 game. Berkman is the runner at third, Chambers at second, and Molina at first, and Skip Schumacher, who singled back in the second inning, 1 for 3. Fly ball hit to left field. Mayberry coming over, can't get it. Off his glove into the corner. 2 runs are going to score, and Schumacher is on at second with a double, and it is now an 11-6 game.
That ball not only slicing away from John Mayberry Jr., but into the wind, which will really exaggerate that slice. He's able to just get the tip of his glove on it with a diving attempt down in that left field corner. Schumacher jumping on the first delivery he saw from Ryan Madsen.
So Berkman and Chambers score. Molina is at third, Schumacher at second with his second hit of the game. And here is John Jay, and John Jay takes a strike. Still 1 out. Cardinals have scored 3 here in the 9th inning. And not going quietly despite the huge deficit coming into the 9th. Ball strike. Jay is 0 for 3. Well, Roy Halladay came out after 8 innings. And the Cardinals have touched up the Phillies bullpen here. 0-2 now to Jay. And Matt Holliday has grabbed a bat and is in the on-deck circle. And he would be pinch hitting for Descalso. Left on the roster and not starting tonight. Available as a pinch hitter, Jay, with a fastball, swings and misses from Madsen, strikes out for out number 2, and Matt Holliday will come up.
Well, we showed you the busy hands of John Jay earlier in the ballgame. That figures to be the pitch he has the most trouble with, an elevated fastball. That time Madsen at 93 blows it right by John Jay.
So here is Matt Holliday. Craig told the story earlier of the injured finger, which has kept him out of action. Questionable as to whether he be on the roster. And takes a big cut. Strike 1. Holliday was 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. Of course, he wasn't in that role very much. A foul ball out of play. So the count 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the 9th inning. The Cardinals scored 3, trailing 11-6, runners at second and third. And now the Redbirds are down to their last strike. Game is over as Holliday strikes out, and Ryan Madsen finally retires the Cardinals, who scored 3 runs, and Roy Halladay, brilliant after a rocky early start, retires his last 21 batters, and the Phillies explode for 10 runs in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings and take Game 1 of the best-of-5 series 11-6.
Impressive performance tonight, not only by Roy Halladay settling in after a rocky first inning, but this much maligned Phillies offense that's had trouble scoring runs from time to time during the 2011 regular season, but they erupted in a big way in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning of this ball game tonight.
Halladay wins it. Loesch takes the loss. And home runs by Ryan Howard, Raul Ibanez for the Phillies, and Lance Berkman, who gave the Cardinals a 3-0 lead. And the Cardinals led until the 6th, when the home runs by Howard and Ibanez. 3-run drive by Howard, 2-run homer by Ibanez. And the explosion started as the Phillies taking game one 11-6, and right now let's send it down to Craig Sager.
Well, no Philadelphia player has more extra base hits in the postseason than Ryan Howard. One of the bigger ones tonight, the 3-run homer in the 6th. Roche was setting you up for a changeup. How confident were you that you were going to get it?
You know, in that situation, I knew he wasn't really going to come with a fastball, so I just kind of set on the changeup, trying to get me to chase, and you just kind of left one hanging there for him.
Uncharacteristically of Roy Halladay giving up 3 runs in the first, but since that point, after a leadoff single in the second, he retired 21 straight. What was the difference?
You know, it's just they got out on him early. I mean, it happens, and if that's one of those things that's going to happen, you would rather have it happen early and continue to get yourselves back in the game. I mean, Roy just kind of bared down a little bit more, made his pitches, and was Roy Halladay.
You got a lot of family and friends back in your hometown of St. Louis. How many of them are still Cardinal fans?
I mean, I'm sure they're all Cardinal fans. I'm sure they would be rooting for the Cardinals, but they're rooting for me too. So I guess it's a good position to be in right now.
Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. So Ryan Howard with a home run and 4 RBIs sets the pace, and a lot of hitters drove in runs for the Phillies in the heart of the order. So our final score in game one, the Phillies 11 and the Cardinals 6. The Phillies take a 1-0 lead in the best-of-5 series. Postseason continues. Coming up on TBS, it's the resumption of Game 1 between the Tigers and the Yankees, and you can see it right here on TBS. So for Bob Brenly and Craig Sager, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Philadelphia. And right now, let's go to Matt Weiner in our Atlanta studio.